Yeah, he keeps trying to cheat. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this guy. I need to talk and keep watching him, not cheating me. This is unbelievable. My name is Erez Agmoni. I'm Global Head of Innovation for Logistics and Services at Maersk. I'm originally from Israel. Fun fact about myself, I lived in probably 5 different countries around the world. Israel, Japan, Thailand, Panama, Florida and New Jersey. Florida is a different country than New Jersey.
The important thing to remember here is whatever Erez says, peace. My name is Josué Velázquez Martínez. I'm a research scientist at MIT Center for Transportation and Logistics, and I am the director of the MIT Sustainable Supply Chain Lab. I'm Mexican, and I'm actually 6'6" tall. I like to play chess and basketball.
Welcome, Josué, to our Innovation Center in New Jersey.
Thank you so much.
Happy to host you after so many years of me coming to MIT and being part of your lectures and classes, and I will try to treat you nicely with a game here. How does supply chain traceability and transparency create more resilience?
Well, as you know, we've discussed many times similar topics in the past, and the challenge of traceability has to do a lot with having the data, having the visibility in the different entities in the supply chain. But you know, the challenge is if you want to provide traceability, and the challenge that we're discussing on supply chain, you need to have data available. You need to be able to either share, have similar systems in different entities in the supply chain, or at least have the willingness to collaborate with other entities in the supply chain. But what is your vision? What do you think are the benefits of this traceability?
So I think traceability needs to be discussed in 2 different points here. Number 1 is the traceability and visibility of supply chain emission, which is one element. I think it's very much missing today. It's very difficult to see the data behind what's going on. But I think more than that, it's important to have a traceability and visibility of the supply chain itself, of where the boxes are, where is the cargo is, because we see a lot of variation in supply chain transit time. And because of that, it creates much more movements. There is much more actual usage of transportations that create more emissions. So the more you can become more visible, you can condense your supply chain, you can actually plan better, you can reduce your total cargo buying, and by that, big time reduce and improve sustainability.
Did I already move?
Yeah, you didn't move.
I didn't move. Okay.
Don't try to cut corners because we're talking about important topics now.
So how can we make sustainable logistics more consumer-facing? And I love this topic. Do you believe consumers, customers may have a role in defining effective, sustainable supply chains?
100% consumer have a role. I think the trick will be we need to ensure that consumer gets some benefit out of that. Hotels are a very good example. Before COVID, now they don't do anything around that, but before COVID, they used to kind of telling you, put a sign in the room where if you want to help the environment, we are trying to help the environment, so please, if you really want to do that, put it outside your door and we will not change your sheets, we will not change your towels, etc., etc. And you walk in the corridors and you don't see anybody is doing that. And some other chains basically will tell you, if you do that, I'll give you 500 points. Suddenly, you go in those hotels and you go outside in the corridor and you see so many of those signs outside the doors because people believe they got something. Taking it back into our world, if we want it to be successful, customers need to be part of it, gain something of it, and potentially give something in return.
For me, the point is how to involve customers or consumers into those decisions. Like, I believe that's the key component for me. Because at the end, many consumers would like to do something for the environment, but they don't know what are the implications of their decisions, mainly because, in a way, companies are not providing or disclosing that information. Imagine that you are able to quantify and measure the emissions that are also explained not just by your efficiencies as a carrier, but because of customer requirements. Sometimes customers may require specific delivery dates, may also have like very tight delivery windows.
Yeah.
And those things may actually cause inefficiencies or suboptimal decisions that will increase also your carbon footprint.
Absolutely.
And this can just be by assessing that, communicating with your customer and say, well, would you be willing to extend a little bit the delivery windows so that in this case we can actually be more efficient and improve our planning. We are so much used to communicate kilograms of CO2 when we talk about carbon footprint.
Right.
But when we make the translation into, for instance, what's the amount of trees that you require to really offset that amount of emissions, or what is the amount of energy that is required that you could, instead of delivering fast, use it to recycle more material. As you know, we did the experiment now in place in two cities, in Monterrey and Mexico City, and we observed 52% of consumers actually changed their delivery decision to delay once they were informed what was the impact of their fast shipping requirements. So now this is again like the idea when this was the first time we were brainstorming at MIT how to do it. The idea was to think of how much you are going to save of emissions and how much as a company you are also going to put for sustainability projects. For instance, if I say fast shipping is equivalent to killing 100 trees, but if you wait 3 to 4 days, that's going to kill only 10 trees. And if you choose it, then I'm going to plant 15.
Yeah.
Right. So there is a commitment that is also an opportunity that at this point it seems not so many organizations are actually doing it.
What is the path to achieving carbon reduction in supply chain?
You identify hotspots in the supply chain and identify the decisions that are causing those hotspots. Then the second is that you need to define a strategy that involves two things. One, long term. So how it's going to be once you start investing in new equipment, in innovations, like that path is the one that is really going to make a difference. But the other side is that there is an opportunity for the quick wins. What are the operations and decisions you are making now, and what is available data you get now so that you can really start making a difference. And I believe following a strategy that will pursue both will be a way to achieving those carbon reduction targets. What are your thoughts?
I think it has to come hand in hand with better numbers for, one more only, because you enter.
Oh, it was just saying you were paying attention.
Yeah, he keeps trying to cheat. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this guy. I need to talk and keep watching him, not cheating me. This is unbelievable. An important element is that companies need to be profitable. You had a long time ago, when you were still doing interesting researches, you had a very interesting stuff that you worked on. It was the elevation game, right? It was solving the shortest path, truck delivery or salesmen, not just looking at the short path, but also looking at elevations differences and what weight you have in your truck while you're driving uphill versus downhill.
Yep.
I think this is something that, using that analogy of, you're not only reducing carbon footprint, you're also reducing gasoline or any other energy, and you're basically reducing cost to operate. That's where the win-win coming into place, and this is how can we make it in a big scale. If we can take that idea and combine it, okay, for example, the other topic we are talking right now about the drayage, how to optimize drayage, which is the first leg of coming from the ship to the first warehouse. So looking into the drayage, how do you optimize that by creating, removing some of the bobtail moves where the truck is moving with no load behind it, either a trailer or empty container or a full container, nothing behind it. That's, I think we looked at that high level, we discovered 17% of the movements are basically useless move, let's call it like that.
Inefficient.
Inefficient, this is a nicer word, thank you. But having said that, if we can reduce that, optimize things, at the same time, of course, impact the environment positively, this is the win-win where we can actually,
I couldn't agree more. How are innovations in network design creating greener supply chains?
We had a lot of customers telling us that there is inefficiency, cargo does not arrive on time. Decided to look into the data of shipments between China to USA. The first thing we looked into was when cargo entered the port in China until it's ready to leave the port here in the US. And what we discovered is that the transit time is 34 days to 74 days. And you can ask yourself, wait, what? Isn't it you guys promising the customer 15 days the West Coast and 20-something days into the East Coast? Isn't it the case? Yes, that's the case. And most of the time when the vessel already depart until the vessel arrives, that's kind of true. But when you're thinking about the port at origin and the port at destination, really, and the handovers between and taking it off the vessel and custom clearance, etc., and then the waiting time for the vessel. So all these kind of things creating a 34 days to 74 days. And then we said, you know what, if that's only on these portions of things, let's look at what happened when it goes all the way to door. So from the moment it enters the port in China until it's reached door here in the US, and the door can be multiple locations, of course, and by default it will be different transit time, but the results were 30 days to 120 days. And this is crazy.
Wow.
We started to speak to customers again and say, can we help to redesign the network and help you to reduce that variability? What happens if we're going to give you a transit time with a ±3 days? And we are working on building a dynamic routing capability. So instead of a customer telling us move it from A to B, B to C, C to E, D, is basically tell us when do you need it, let us play with this into our network and bring it on time when you need it, repeatedly. And that's something actually we're working also with the MIT to develop the algorithm for prediction on how different routes will impact differently.
So you could look now who's cheating, huh?
Oh my God.
So why don't we talk a little bit more about the importance of particularly the risk with regulations and other type of incentives that exist for companies to really be accounting for carbon emissions and also establishing some goals.
So in my mind, regulation could be an important element to move things faster.
Okay.
And to enforce the whole ecosystem to move at the same pace, so towards the same goal.
So do you believe this is the right approach in the US? Like usually it's very well known that Europe moves with a lot of regulation, right? And people, population, consumers are fine with that because this is the way that things are done there, and that's fine. But in the US, usually that doesn't happen, except for some states, maybe California. But usually in the US, it's more driven by companies. So now I ask you, because you seem to believe that regulation may have a play there as well. What's your thoughts on that?
I think a combination will be the easiest and best way forward, right? It's not one or another, but a combination between the two probably will be something that can help.
I believe for me one of the main things, and why probably I will still call it a risk, is that you probably saw that this December there was an announcement by the SEC, right, mentioning about the new initiative to, in a way, request from companies the reporting of the carbon emissions, right? And depending on what they are claiming, but if they are claiming in their vision or goals that they are also looking at the scope 3, then this is also going to be part of the requirements. And then now a new conversation is going to start, because as you know, this is the one that has like the lowest level of detail. There are a lot of different standards and metrics to do it. Yeah. So I believe there is still a unique opportunity. And of course, without these standards, without this accuracy, almost impossible to use the models, the fancy technology, nor to involve consumers or customers into your strategy. So the first step is always you get what you measure.
Well done. It was a pleasure listening
really,
for you.
Honestly, sensational discussion with you. Always learning a lot from you, my friend.
As well.
Honestly.
Thank you as well.
He teases me a lot, but he's awesome.